Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is a question and answer session that we've decided to set up to allow you guys a chance to just get more information about whatever it is that you're curious about and to allow me to personally assist you in your training efforts. Leah has already sent me some questions and answers. I'm sorry, some questions that I'm going to answer. So let me find some of those. Okay. We got lots of questions here. I have not reviewed these questions, so I'm just going to shoot from the hip on these. All right, the first question. Okay, so the question here is there a difference? So he has a difference in, he basically has muscular imbalances and wants to know if you should focus on certain muscles, like weaker muscles, to help balance out the overall, I guess, balance of your muscle groups. And again, I kind of I've taken the approach, especially with the way that I deliver training to you guys. Like I'm trying to make the training more and more customizable, but it's going to take years and time to improve that process, right? So. Really the best thing to do is to, rather than focusing on your muscles, focus on the movements, right? And focus on the specific movements that you need. So I think in order to like really balance out or to have the most balanced physique and overall ability, my exercise program, Bodyweight Training 2.0, is really the best option because it covers all the isolated functions of the shoulders, spine, and hips. You have the developmental movements, which are basically the transitions between lying, kneeling, and standing positions. And then you have all the standing movements that we typically use in order to move through space, going up, down, forward, back, and side to side. Again, I think focus less on your muscles and focus more on the movements that you actually need. Which, like what skills are most important to you. And again, the best recommendation that I can give you now for a balanced physique is Bodyweight Training 2.0. All right. Recommendations for equipment at home, pulling exercises, and creative ideas for small spaces. So if you guys look behind me here, I have, that's actually a squat rack that I have. And this is a Rogue squat rack, it's kind of expensive because I used it for a video shoot that I did last year. And you guys will start seeing workout videos made with those exercises next year. But a squat rack is great because basically like I can adjust the height of that bar for a variety of pulling exercises. So I can do let me ups. I can wrap a towel around it and do let-me-ins, and I can set the bar high at the top there. And if I bend my legs, I can even do pull-ups on it, right? Pushing exercises are great there as well. So I would say squat rack is a really great tool, and you can make a squat rack yourself at home. YouTube has some videos. If you go there and type in how to make a home squat rack, and you'll see like basically like 2 buckets of cement that have 2x4s with cement inside of them, and it just holds your bar up there. And that's a really good solution. Additionally, like if you look up at my ceiling, you'll see I have a hook in my ceiling right there, right? Well, it's kind of hard to see on the video, right? But I have a hook in my ceiling that I can hang suspension straps from. And I recently even got some yoga silks for flying yoga that allow me to do all kinds of like fun pulling exercises and allow me to stretch on it. Here I have concrete floors, and I love using sliders. So here I have some furniture sliders, right? Can you see that? Furniture sliders, and these are furniture sliders for a hard floor. I also have furniture sliders for the carpet, but I typically just use the ones on the hard floor. And with these, you can do all kinds of cool things, all kinds of pushing exercises. You can step on it, do all kinds of different lunging movements, get a nice stretch. So sliders are really good. Really, I mean, if you can find a place that the countertop is a really good place to do exercises on. And over there, I have, I'll show you. Here, this is my little light so you guys can see me. But beyond that light, it's kind of hard to see. I have a big wooden desk. And I used to use that wooden desk for my pulling exercises. Okay. Oh, lots of questions. How to get ripped like Mark? You know what? It takes a long time. It takes years, and to be totally honest, like a good bit of it, like how you look when you train, is it's largely determined by your genetics. Um, so, I mean, like some people may train hard for years, and they're going to be very physically healthy and fit and capable. They may not necessarily be as lean as I am. I'm naturally very lean, but on the same side, like it's also very difficult for me to like maintain the muscle mass that I want and need. So I have to have a large calorie intake, but I have to also know how to cycle my calories in order to achieve the physique that I want. So basically, what I'm aware of is that I can't gain muscle mass and get lean at the same time, right? Like usually, unless you're a beginner, that's going to be really difficult to do. So I go through periods where I have a high calorie intake and I'm training hard, and then I'll decrease my calorie intake, and I usually also decrease the intensity of my training um, through periods where I slow down, basically, or I decrease my calorie intake and I get leaner. I also do regular fasting. So like when I'm really training hard and a lot, and I'm eating, 4 to 6,000 calories a day, which is, I like to say it's like a second job. You got to eat because you're not going to put on muscle. Like, where's that muscle mass supposed to come from, right? It's not magic. We're not plants. You have to eat, right? And you have to rest. That's a really important thing that I see in people, and I see in myself as well. It's that, especially as I get older, I'm 41 now, so if I want to get in really good shape, like everything else in my life kind of has to take a back seat. I can't work hard at my job and then travel around and do all kinds of other things and get in great shape at the same time. I have to pick, right? So um, there's lots of variables at play, and really the bottom line is the only way that you're going to discover what works for you is by you have to try and you have to experiment and troubleshoot, and it takes years, So yeah, so how do you get ripped? You train hard, you rest and sleep, and you have to be really serious about your rest and relaxation. That's an important part of the equation. And you have to eat properly. You have to eat a lot, and you have to eat your vegetables. You have to drink your water, and then when you want to get lean, you have to decrease your calorie intake. Let's see. The next question. What are the certification courses? Right now I have Bodyweight Training 2.0 and I have Bodyweight Rehab. So Bodyweight Training 2.0 is, um, I wanted to create a comprehensive exercise. So let me back up. The programs in You Are Your Own Gym, in Body by You, in the 90-day challenges, it takes me a long time to develop those exercise programs. So in order to develop a comprehensive exercise program that works for a wide variety of people, that typically takes me about 18 months from the time I start the program until I actually deliver that program to you guys, right? So with Bodyweight Training 2.0, my intention was to create a comprehensive exercise program that allows you guys to build your own workouts and own exercise program easily, right? So it's a comprehensive, easy to use system for developing all the fundamental athletic skills that you need. It has 64 exercises, and it's to date still my favorite exercise program, right? So it's the best solution out there for improving overall general physical preparedness for life, right? Athletic ability, injury resistance with a minimal amount of effort, right? And I think that's essential, and that's key to performance in all things, is that you want to achieve your goals with as little energy as possible, right? So, and that's very counter to what you hear in the fitness industry, where, you know, like a lot of these other trainers, they always want you to push as hard as you can, do as much as you possibly can. But I'm of the opinion that enough is enough, right? So like, and what's enough is always sort of changing, right? So it's a moving target, and there are no like really super simple answers out there. So let me not get too far into that, but Bodyweight Training 2.0, as the certification program goes, it's also like I'm trying to create a mind shift, and I'm trying to change what's important to you in regards to fitness and performance. And a really essential part to performance in all things is efficiency, right? So how much do you get for the energy that you invest, right? An exercise program should make everything as easy as possible. So we're trying to develop movement patterns, postural habits that make getting from one place to another place as easy as possible. You want to be efficient, right? Efficiency is the key to performance. And then I have Bodyweight Rehab. So basically, Bodyweight Training 2.0 brought me to the conclusion that the way people need to train in order to best improve overall athletic performance is we have to focus on the specific skills that we need in actual day-to-day life in sports, right? Like, what are those movements? What are those fundamentals that are always being used, right? So like, only by focusing on those fundamentals, and again, like, the fundamentals are those things that are always being used. That's what makes them fundamental. By focusing on those things, we can best generally improve overall performance, right? For general performance, you don't want to specialize, because specialized things are not often in use. So bodyweight rehab basically is a regression. It's a regression from Bodyweight Training 2.0 that takes the movements to their simplest and easiest starting points. So you have the isolated functions of the joints in the lying positions and the easiest variations of those movements. And then there's a big focus on efficient transitions between lying, crawling, kneeling, and standing positions, right? Like, those are what skills did you learn first in life? It's the ability to, you had isolated functions of the joint on your back as a baby, right? Then eventually you learn to roll, and then you learn to transition from lying to crawling positions, crawling, and then standing and walking. So basically that exercise program, Bodyweight Rehab, duplicates that process, refines it with an emphasis on efficiency, so that you can maintain those functions that are most important to your survival and well-being. So when you're 50, 60, 70, 80, right, like, you're going to start noticing like those are the things that become more and more difficult. And you want years and millions of repetitions of refining those movements that are most important in your life. So that's what Bodyweight Rehab is about. And they're great for warm-ups, active recovery, and then that entire baby boomer generation is also would benefit from that greatly. All right, next question. Are you planning to compete in Thai boxing in the future? Felix Smith. No, I'm not. So I'm 41 now. And again, I think the way I kind of see aging is that you have to, as you get older, you have to become more and more accurate about how you apply stress to your body in order to cause adaptation. So kind of like when you're a beginner with an exercise program, you can do just like, let's say you haven't exercised in a really long time, right? You're a complete novice and beginner. You can do just about anything short of bed rest, and you're going to make pretty good gains. As you advance, how you apply stress, how you apply rest, and how you eat becomes more and more important in order for you to continue to make that progress. So your margin of error goes down as you advance. And similarly in life, right? When you're a child, you could say children are novices, they're beginners. You can do anything and you're going to make great progress. You're going to be fine. Kids, they run around, they play all day long, right? Because they're learning how to move. As you get older, right, your margin of error gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you want to stay in good shape, you have to become more and more accurate about how you exercise, how you rest, and how you eat. So for me now, I'm a fitness professional. I'm dedicated to performing my services to you guys. And really, I know now at the age of 41, the best way for me to do that is to focus on those things that are most important, right? And I got to cut out everything else, right? So, which is basically why, like next year, the certification program, I'm going to reduce it to where I'm doing one trip to Europe and one trip to China. And yeah, because like all the traveling and extra stuff, it's cutting into my recovery. So yeah, I love Thai boxing and everything else, but it's a pretty hard sport. You're smashing your body into objects. So I will probably like take some dance classes though. I think that's similar. Okay, here's a great question. What is a good overall strategy for staying in shape using Mark Lauren products for keeping fitness, building few muscles, being able to do fun activities with kids? Definitely my best solution to date. I think again for general preparedness, being able to enjoy your life, being injury resistant, and spending as little energy as possible on exercise. So basically getting the highest return for the energy that you invest is it's Bodyweight Training 2.0 and Rehab. So if you go to marklauren.com/download, you'll see that we have different training schedules that you can download and they show you on what days, what workouts you should be doing in order to achieve your goals. One of those is Bodyweight Training 2.0 with Rehab. And yeah, and we have lots of schedules. The training schedules that we're making, I'm always working on them, so you can expect a lot more. And I mean, and again, like there isn't usually one single answer that's always going to be right in all situations, right? That's unrealistic. So and that's why I have different training schedules. The basically the Mark Lauren on demand program, the subscription program at marklauren.com. I put people on a track now, and you start out with a 90-day challenge, which you train 3 to 4 days a week. The workouts are probably anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes long, depending on the shape that you're in. And after those first 3 months, that's then when you get into Bodyweight Training 2.0, Bodyweight Rehab. And a couple months after that, that's when you start EFX along with Mobility RX, which is a pretty awesome combination. And with each of those different programs, you're going to learn different things, right? So to me, exercising, it's about muscles. Like you want to look good, but the important thing is that we want to build our muscles with activities. We want to build our bodies with activities that actually teach us something useful in life, right? And that's essential. You don't want to how we adapt to movement is highly specific. So if you're using movements that you never really duplicate when you're not exercising, the utility, the usefulness of that exercise program is going to be extremely limited. Because yes, maybe you have muscles, yes, maybe you have incredible lung capacity, etc., but you're going to be inefficient, right? So so my plan is to allow you to build muscles, increase lung capacity, get you leaner, but at the same time, actually decrease the energy requirements that you need to achieve your goals, right? So you could kind of look at it, think about it as you want to increase your energy reserves, right, which are your muscles and your lung capacity, while at the same time decreasing the amount of energy that you actually need through more efficient movement patterns and just better posture and positioning. So Bodyweight Training 2.0, the 90-day challenge, those are really good solutions for you. What tips do you have for somebody that is underweight, nutrition-wise, and which exercise from on demand are the best? Okay, so he wants to know, he needs a solution for being underweight in regards to nutrition and the on-demand exercise program, or the programs and workouts that I have in my subscription program from marklewarren.com. I have Body Fuel as a book. I think that's a pretty good starting point to get you started in the right direction, you know. And there's going to be a lot of details in there that I can't, you know, now give you, but you have to eat a lot. You got to eat like it's a job, I always say. So 3 meals a day, I would say, right? Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Make sure you get all 3 of your macronutrients, protein, fat, carbs in each meal. Make sure you eat your vegetables, right? You need your micronutrients. Drink plenty of water. And then in addition to those 3 meals, drink a smoothie between breakfast and lunch, and another smoothie between lunch and dinner. That's going to do a lot to allow you to increase your calorie intake. And again, when I eat like that, it's kind of a lot of stress on your body to take in that many calories all the time. So every Sunday, basically from dinner on Saturday until dinner on Sunday, I do a fast. And during that fast, I just drink some water. I will sometimes allow myself to eat like a couple bites of a carrot or some raw vegetable, but that's it, right? And I actually think it feels really great, and it allows your body to recover. So fasting is a really good thing to do. So yeah, you got to eat. And as far as the exercise or the workout program that I recommend, I would just say start out with the regular track for the subscription program. Start with the 90-day challenge, progress to Bodyweight Training 2.0, and then Mobility RX, right? So really, you have to get all the fundamentals in place, because the only way you can really build a lot of muscle is by applying a lot of stress to your body. So our bodies, they're like any other structure, right? Like this condo, for example, it has pillars, there's a supporting structure, and the alignment of those segments, the alignment of those parts has to be right in order for the structure to safely absorb the force, the necessary force. Our bodies are the same way, right? So bodyweight, so my strategy basically is I use bodyweight exercise primarily to teach you those fundamental skills that you need in order to improve your posture and your positioning so you can get into correct joint alignment. Once you can get into correct joint alignment, that's then when we can start applying more force to build your stability and strength and muscles, right? Because it doesn't really make sense to start applying a bunch of force to your body before you're in correct alignment. So you have to go through the process. All right, next question. Oops. 1 second. What exercise regime do you recommend to complement Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? From Jay. Definitely Bodyweight Training 2.0. So, man, there's a really great quote from a jiu-jitsu guy, and basically what he said is, and it kind of applies to all things. He said that you know, in jiu-jitsu there are moves, but like being able to perform some move like an arm bar or getting side control, half guard, whatever, like being able to perform those movements requires that all the other fundamental movements, so the movements that make up the move, right, have to be in place in order for you to properly execute that move, that jiu-jitsu move. And Bodyweight Training 2.0 is great because there's a very systematic approach to making sure that all your movements are being covered. When I created this exercise program with Rafael Ruiz, we basically had a checklist of all the different functions that we wanted to train. And as we went down that list of functions, we would come up with an exercise or a movement for that function, and we would check it off, right? And then we created an entire system out of it. So Bodyweight Training 2.0 is really good because it's comprehensive, and you're not going to be spending too much time and energy on exercising. So basically, like, I think for athletic performance especially, if your main focus is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, then you want an exercise program that complements Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? And it does not unnecessarily take time and energy away from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I think for that reason especially, because Bodyweight Training 2.0 is very efficient in comprehensively teaching you all the different movements and functions that you need, it's a good solution for what you need. So I'll say, like, Bodyweight Training 2.0 has things like, because there are transitions from lying to standing positions, right? Obviously you need that for jiu-jitsu, you need it for everything. Plus you have all the isolated functions of the joints that often are not trained, like making circles with our shoulders, making circles with our hips, internal, external rotation, lateral movement. All these things in conventional exercise programs are often missed. Steven asks, how do you know when it's time to move from beginner to intermediate? So, I mean, what beginner, intermediate, advanced is or are, those, I mean, that's obviously an opinion. And so I'll answer this question in regards to how it applies to my exercise programs, right? So like, you are your own gym 1 and 2, those have novice, intermediate, and advanced progressions. For those, I would say, like, once you can keep up with me, you maintain the pace that I'm maintaining in the video, and you can do so with good form, right? That's when it's time for you to then advance to the next progression, right? So, but your technique, how you're moving, is essential. So a lot of times and I think, like, the certification program is especially valuable because when you're doing a video program or you're doing my DVD program, you're not getting that feedback that you need. So, and basically what the certification program teaches you is like those basic postural principles that almost always apply, so that you know if you're doing an exercise right or wrong. So anyway, once you can keep up with me on the videos, and you can maintain good form, right? So basically, like, your joint alignment is correct and you're relatively relaxed and not totally dying, that's when it's time for you to progress to the next level. And I will also say that when you guys exercise, a good exercise program that really improves athletic performance, it needs to teach you guys to relax and to coordinate your movements with your breathing. So coordination, proprioception, basically knowing where you are in space, is essential. It's the most important part to athletic performance and day-to-day performance. Coordination is the most important part of any performance, right? So like, even if you're part of a team, you guys have to coordinate with one another so that you're all doing the right things at the right time in the right places. Our bodies are the same sort of way. So as a side note, you guys focus on staying relaxed, coordinating your breathing, and maintaining correct alignment. So make yourself as long and as straight as you can for all these different exercises. A lot of times exercise programs, what I see is they not only use movements that are not really applicable to real life, but they're too focused on creating tension, right? Because we want to build more muscle and we want to burn more calories. So we're like intentionally making everything like as hard as we possibly can, but we're creatures of habit. So you end up taking that into your daily life, right? And you don't want that. You want to be relaxed. You want to be effortless. What is the best way to combine the 90-day challenge with Bodyweight Training 2.0? Phil. So Phil, the best way to combine the 90-day challenge with Bodyweight Training 2.0, I would say just do one and then do the other. and you guys can toggle back and forth between these different programs, right? Um, like what I've seen is that you do one exercise program and you develop some new skills. And then when you go to bodyweight training 2.0, you can take those new skills to improve the movements in bodyweight training 2.0. And then when you go back from bodyweight training 2.0 to the 90-day challenge, the same is going to occur again. You're going to develop some new skills, right? And those improved movements are going to carry over to your movements in the 90-day challenge. As far as some people like to do more, and that's fine, right? It's hard for me sitting here without knowing you to say like exactly how much you should exercise, because obviously there's a difference between like what a 15-year-old can tolerate and what a 50-year-old can tolerate. Not only that, there's a lot of other variables that affect how easily and how well we can recover. So let's say I have a twin brother, right? But maybe he's on some island eating the best possible, freshest food, fresh out of a garden, and has zero stress in his life, right? While I'm like flying around doing certification programs and things like that, what he is able to tolerate is probably going to be significantly different than what I can tolerate. So you have to adjust these exercise programs to you, and that just requires experience. So the best solutions I have right now are what I have for my subscription program at marklauren.com. And again, if you want to see the training schedules, go to marklauren.com/download. What's your opinion of the keto diet? Like there's always different diets coming out, and they all make pretty legitimate points, but there is no like one single solution that like this is it, we figured it out. I would say I think the whole concept of reducing carbohydrates is fine. It's great. So I mean, the way I do it, I fast, right? So a 24-hour fast, and during that 24-hour fast, usually when I'm about 12, 14 hours into it, I'll sometimes go for a 60 to 90-minute walk, like a brisk walk, or I'll go for a jog, or I'll do some sprints, I'll work out or whatever, so that basically like my body, now that the sugars are out of my body, right, they're depleted, and I'm exercising, those pathways to utilize fat as energy are improved, and that then increases my overall energy capacity when I get sugar back into my body. It's fine. So, but I mean, I could rattle off like 20 really successful diets that have been in the industry. Like every year there's some new diet, and and they all make pretty legitimate points. But it's really just about the basics. Like, what are those basics? Cover your needs. Know what your needs are, and here's the most important part. Once your needs are met, stop. Do something else, right? So like, once you're not hungry anymore, go do something different, right? Go wash your plate and go do something different. And I think that's the probably like one of the most important parts to being fit and healthy for the rest of your life is know what your needs are, right? And I'm talking about basic needs. Like, what are the most basic, essential needs that you need in order to survive? And once those needs are met, stop and rest, right? Because anything extra just creates stress in your life. I've actually taken a bit of an interest now in gardening. One, because I feel like the food here in the United States it's super old. Like it's beautiful in the grocery stores, but it got transported to the trucking station, and then it got trucked from some state to the grocery store, and then it sits in the grocery store for a few days, then it sits in my refrigerator for a few days, and then I finally eat it, right? Probably after cooking it. So I after this phone call, I'm actually going to my mom's, and right behind me there, in these windows where I have this this flower, I'm putting potting plants in there that they actually water themselves, and I'm going to grow lettuce, beans, and herbs there. But aside from just having fresh, healthy food, what really interests me in regards to gardening is that plants are living things, and they adapt to their environment, and plants have certain needs. And the thing about plants is that they have to have those needs in order to survive, But once they have what they need, you have to stop, right? Like too much sunlight is bad. Too much water, it's bad. It's bad for the plant, right? So you have to recognize what this plant's needs are. You have to give it what it needs, and once it's had enough, you have to stop. And we're the exact same way, all right? So, and that includes exercise, food, rest, etc. All right, next question. Let's take some questions here. Mark, do you have any tips for mastering pistol squats? Um, you can use progressively lower surfaces to sit onto and then stand up off of. You can go down in with your feet together into the bottom of a squat and then basically come out of the squat with a pistol. So basically you can practice basically like just the descent on its own and also getting up on its own. You can assist yourself, right? Like hold on to different types of surfaces. And and I would say usually the thing that causes problem with the pistol squat is not strength, but mobility. So try stretching your calves and soleus before you do pistol squats so that your center of balance is better. Um, it often also helps, try doing a pistol squat with your heels slightly elevated and take like about 5-10 pounds to hold in front of yourself as a counterweight. And then write me if you did your first pistol squat. Mike Devos, I'm not sure if I said it right. Still a very good active recovery workout. Those bodyweight rehabs. Oh yeah. So bodyweight rehab, right, which is one of my certification programs. I now also have videos on my subscription program. And again, they cover all the isolated functions of the joints. You have transitions from lying to crawling positions, which includes rolling. And it covers all those fundamentals, those basic skills that are really important to your athletic ability. So think about, so the way I look at exercise now, it's like learning anything else, right? So if you learn math, for example, you have to learn the basics first because those fundamentals are the things that are always being used. So the fundamentals of math are the numbers 0 through 9, right? Once you can count 0 through 9, you can start connecting those to make all the other numbers. And then you can take groups of numbers and connect those to make more complex math, right? So like all of math is kind of like just increasingly complex ways of counting. Reading and writing, you have to learn the basics, the alphabet, then you connect those letters to make words, you connect the words to make sentences, paragraphs, chapters, books, volumes, right? And it becomes infinitely complex. Movements are the same way, like, well, we have the isolated functions of the joint, which you learned as a baby. And then by like sort of random occurrence, you did something and you were allowed, it caused you to roll, right? And that's when like that aha moment went off in the baby's head, and it's like totally shocked and amazed at what just happened, totally different outlook on life. And then you learn to transition to a front lying position, crawling positions, etc. But those workouts are really fun, and they're a great way to help you to recover between more intense workouts, right? So who was it? That question about how to combine the 90-day challenge with bodyweight training 2.0. For any exercise program, for all you people that are using exercise programs, one of my exercise programs, try using bodyweight rehab in between those workouts to help you recover and improve your athletic ability. What time is it? We're 40 minutes into it. All right, let's see. Do you use weights as well for training or primarily body weight? Okay, so this question is, do I use weights or do I primarily just use body weight? The foundation is body weight exercise for me. Again, because it doesn't really make sense for me to apply a lot of force to my structure if I can't properly position myself, right? So body weight training gives me the foundation that I need to build on. So I'll go through periods where I lift maybe twice a week. I went through a period where I was lifting like 3 times a week with full body workouts, and I'm going to release those workouts next year. I plan to. So basically, in 2019, you guys can expect to get at least a couple of workouts that involve some free weights, and they're going that's going to be a really nice way to transition from the 90-day challenge to bodyweight training 2.0, mobility RX with EFX. And then at that point, you're absolutely ready to start applying more force to your structure so that you can improve your stability. Because the goal is really get you into the correct positions for optimal force absorption, and then challenge your ability to maintain those positions with weights. Makes sense, right? All right, one more question. Ooh, okay. Recommendations for pregnant women. Um, you know, I guess I should be careful when I say this, but I feel like women are not as, if you're healthy, let me just say, like, you want to be healthy before you get pregnant, right? So, and I think that's really essential to having good pregnancy and post pregnancy, right? Get healthy before you get pregnant, and then while you're pregnant, maintain your health, right? Exercise, and I think women are really far more resilient during pregnancy than we think they are, right? Of course, later. You don't want to lay on your stomach, and you don't want to go into deep squatting positions. You don't want to apply pressure to your stomach, but but I think for the most part, and you want to control how much lactic acid you're creating during your workouts, right? Because that's going to be in your system as well. So, but for the most part, if you're healthy when you start, keep exercising, and I think you'll be pretty healthy when you stop. All right, I like this question from Paulina. How do you motivate yourself during winter? It's freaking cold in Munich. What I realized about myself a very long time ago, probably even as when I was a teenager, is that I have to set concrete, measurable goals for myself. So, just saying like I want to stay in shape, um, that doesn't do it for me. It's like it's a good goal, but it's boring and it's not specific. It's too general. Like define good shape. Have some like performance based metric that you strive to achieve. So usually I'll have some kind of goal, like something very concrete and measurable, and I'll put a time limit on it, and that really helps to motivate me. All right, so that's there are more questions, but I got to go to my mom's to get my gardening supplies. Mm-hmm. All right. So anyway, I'm going to be in Europe. I'm leaving Wednesday to go to Zurich, and we have classes in not in this order necessarily, but it's going to be Zurich, Stuttgart, Hamburg, Vienna, and Prague. So it's 5 classes back to back, and next year I'm going to one class a year, right? So it's I got to take care of myself, and I want to be healthy, and I want to kind of like enjoy a nice, easy, healthy life. And I think one class a year is enough. So I hope to see you guys in the next 5 weeks, and then if not, I hope to see you guys next year or some other time down the road. That's all I got. Thank you guys. Much love.